I did everything they told me to do. Opened a brokerage account, invested monthly, picked solid investments. I followed every step, every piece of advice from the so-called experts. I was diligent, careful, and determined not to make the mistakes I'd heard about from others. I even tracked my spending, cut back on little luxuries, and made sure to automate my investments so I wouldn't miss a single month. For 5 years I transferred cash, imagining those finance book graphs shooting up. Every month I'd watch the money leave my account, picturing it quietly multiplying in the background. I'd see those glossy charts in books and online all pointing up and to the right, and I believed that was my future too. I thought I was on my way to a rich life. I pictured myself years from now, enjoying the freedom that comes with financial security, maybe traveling, maybe buying a home, maybe just not worrying about bills. I felt proud, like I was finally doing something smart for my future. But after 60 months I finally reviewed my progress. I sat down, determined to see just how far I'd come. I expected to be impressed, maybe even a little surprised by how much my discipline had paid off. My heart pounded as I pulled up my statements, expecting to see real growth. I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, like opening a long-awaited gift. I was ready to see the results of all my hard work and sacrifice. Instead, my portfolio was barely above what I'd deposited. The numbers stared back at me, almost unchanged. It was as if the market had been asleep, or worse, ignoring me completely. I couldn't believe it. After all that time, all that effort, there was almost nothing to show for it. All that discipline, all those sacrifices, for what? I skipped dinners out, said no to trips, and put off buying things I wanted, all for the promise of a better future. Now, it felt like I'd been tricked. It felt like running a marathon on a treadmill. The disappointment was crushing. I was exhausted, but I hadn't moved forward at all. I kept thinking, how could this be happening? Wasn't I doing everything right? I checked the numbers again and again. No mistake, just stagnation. I refreshed the page, recalculated, even called my brokerage to make sure there wasn't some error. But the truth was right there, in black and white. My friends were buying houses and traveling, while my portfolio looked like it had been asleep for years. I'd scroll through social media, seeing their new homes, their vacations, their celebrations, and wonder what I was doing wrong. I'd followed the rules, but still lost. I did everything the books and podcasts said, but the results just weren't there. It was like playing a game where everyone else knew the secret rules except me. 5 years wasted, or so it seemed. Time had slipped by, and I felt like I'd been standing still. I started to wonder if I'd ever catch up, or if I was just destined to be left behind. I'd read the books, listened to the gurus, invest consistently, and compounding will make you rich. I'd heard it so many times it was practically a mantra. But now, it just sounded hollow. But my experience proved them wrong. The reality was so different from the promises. I started to question everything I'd learned, wondering if I'd missed some crucial detail, or if the whole system was just broken. It felt like a secret club I wasn't invited to. Everyone else seemed to be in on the secret to building wealth, while I was stuck on the outside, peering in. That frustration turned into anger, at myself for being naive, and at the financial world for selling a dream that felt like a lie. I was angry at the experts, the books, the podcasts, and most of all, at myself for believing it would be easy. I knew something had to change. I couldn't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. It was time to dig deeper, to question the advice I'd been given, and to find a new path forward, one that actually worked for me. Compounding is supposed to be magical, but nobody tells you it can break down. My problem? I kept cashing out small gains, never letting profits run. I'd sell after a tiny win, then let the cash sit idle. I wasn't reinvesting dividends or capital gains. I treated investing like a slot machine, not a business, and when life threw me a curveball, I'd dip into my investments, promising to put it back, later. Each withdrawal reset my progress, shrinking my base for growth. I misunderstood compounding. I thought it was passive, but it needs two things, a decent return and uninterrupted time. I gave it neither. My returns were low, and I kept interrupting. I was like a gardener digging up seeds, wondering why nothing grew. The truth, I was sabotaging my own investments. Compounding isn't a myth, I just wasn't letting it work. I had to stop being my own worst enemy. Digging into my accounts, I found a silent killer: fees. They're invisible, quietly draining your returns. Over 5 years, those tiny percentages added up. I was in mutual funds with high expense ratios, sometimes over 1%. That's a direct loss before you even make a profit. If the market returns 7% but your fund charges 1.5%, you only get 5.5%. Fees compound against you, costing you future growth. When I calculated the total impact, I was horrified. The financial industry hides these costs behind jargon, but there are low-cost alternatives, like index funds, with fees as low as 0.04%. Switching to low-cost funds is an instant guaranteed boost. This was my first clue to fixing my broken system. My other big mistake? Trying to outsmart the market, I chased hot tips and headlines, hoping for quick wins. My portfolio became a mess of random bets. No strategy, just noise. The result, abysmal returns, lagging far behind the market. I was paying the price for being an amateur. The dream of picking the next big winner is seductive, but reality is a portfolio full of duds. I ignored the simple, proven strategy low-cost index funds. I wanted excitement, but it cost me real money. Consistently timing the market is nearly impossible, even for professionals. My emotions drove my decisions, not discipline. Investing shouldn't be thrilling, it should be boring and consistent. My quest for shortcuts led me nowhere. I needed a new approach. One night, surrounded by spreadsheets, it hit me. Compounding is a lie. 5 years of effort and nothing to show for it. I felt cheated, like the whole system was a scam. Why bother saving or investing? My account felt like a black hole. I nearly gave up, ready to cash out and walk away. The sense of failure was overwhelming. I questioned my judgment. How could I have missed this? Admitting my failure felt humiliating, so I kept it to myself. That night was rock bottom. But it forced me to stop making excuses and start searching for real answers. I had to decide quit, or figure out what was really going on. My anger turned into determination. I refused to be a victim of the system. I was going to make it work for me. I stopped complaining and started learning. Instead of blaming the market or my luck, I took a hard look at my own habits and realized I needed to change my approach from the ground up. No more get-rich-quick books. I wanted real data. I started seeking out research, academic studies, and the wisdom of investors who had actually succeeded over decades, not just in a lucky year. The truth was simple: success isn't about picking winners but avoiding losers, minimizing costs, and being patient. I learned that the most reliable path to wealth was slow, steady, and almost boring. I fired myself as a stock picker and sold off my random stocks. It was humbling to admit I wasn't smarter than the market, but it was also freeing. In their place, I bought low-cost, diversified index funds, US total market, international, and bonds. Simple, boring, and effective. I wanted my money working for me, not against me, and I wanted to sleep at night. Next, I slashed my fees by moving to a low-cost brokerage. I compared every option, looking for hidden charges and making sure my investments weren't being eaten away by unnecessary costs. My average fee dropped from over 1% to less than 0.1%, an instant raise. That difference, compounded over years, would mean thousands more in my pocket instead of someone else's. Fees are a hurdle, lower them, and you gain a permanent advantage. Every dollar saved on fees is a dollar that keeps working for you, year after year. Finally, I set a specific asset allocation and committed to it. I decided exactly how much to put in stocks, bonds, and international funds, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't second-guess myself. I'd rebalance once a year, but no more tinkering or reacting to headlines. No more market timing. I stopped letting fear or excitement dictate my moves. My job wasn't to be brilliant, but disciplined. I realized that consistency and self-control would beat cleverness in the long run. Buy the whole market, keep costs low, and let time do the work. The magic wasn't in timing the market, but in spending time in the market. It was a total reversal of my old approach. I went from chasing hot tips and quick wins to building a strategy I could actually trust. The stress of daily decisions disappeared. I no longer felt the pressure to constantly monitor the market or react to every bit of news. I finally had a plan I could stick to. It was clear, actionable, and designed to weather the ups and downs of the market. The evidence was clear. This was the way forward. Decades of research and the experience of successful investors all pointed in the same direction. I was ready to let the system work. For the first time, I felt confident that my financial future was on solid ground and all I had to do was stay the course. My new strategy was simple, but I knew I was my own worst enemy. So I built a system to make investing automatic. I set up automatic transfers. Every payday, money moved straight into my brokerage account. This was paying myself first before I could spend it elsewhere. The automation continued. My account invested the cash into index funds according to my chosen allocation. No logging in, no manual trades. It just happened. I also set dividends and capital gains to automatically reinvest. Every bit of profit was put back to work, fueling compounding. My money was finally making money, and that money was making more money. Automation enforced the discipline I lacked. This was the effortless power of compounding I'd been searching for. For 6 months I avoided checking my account, breaking my old habit. I trusted the system: automatic transfers, low-cost funds, reinvested dividends. When I finally checked after a year, everything had changed. The chart was finally trending up, not flat. My portfolio grew more in 1 year than in the previous 5 combined. Dividends were being reinvested, compounding my returns. Each reinvested dividend felt like hiring a new employee to build my wealth. Compounding wasn't a myth, I just needed the right conditions. My relationship with money changed from anxiety to confidence. I stopped feeling like a gambler and started feeling like an owner. I knew there would be down years, but I had a system that could weather storms. I focused on the long term, not daily noise. I was finally on the right path. If you've been investing for years with little to show, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to fix it. So many people pour their energy, time, and hard-earned money into investing, only to feel stuck or disappointed by the results. It's easy to blame the market, the economy, or even yourself, but the truth is, you can take control and change your outcome. You've already built the habit of saving and investing. That's a huge accomplishment. Most people never even get that far. You've shown discipline and commitment, and that's something to be proud of. But habits alone aren't enough if your strategy isn't working for you. Don't let that effort go to waste because of a broken strategy. All those years of saving deserve to be rewarded, not lost to poor choices or outdated advice. It's time to make your money work as hard as you do. The frustration you feel is a signal. It's time for change. That nagging sense that things could be better is your mind telling you to take action. Don't ignore it. Use it as motivation to finally get the results you want. Take an honest look at your portfolio. Are you paying high fees that eat away at your returns? Are you chasing hot stocks, hoping for a quick win, or letting your profits sit idle in cash? These are common traps that hold investors back, but you can break free from them. The good news is, you can fix this. You don't need to overhaul your entire life or become a financial expert overnight. Small, smart changes can make a huge difference over time. Switch to low-cost index funds. Automate your investing so you never have to think about it. Set up automatic transfers that happen every month, rain or shine, and let your investments grow quietly in the background. You don't need to be a genius, just follow a simple, proven plan. The most successful investors aren't the ones who make the most trades or take the biggest risks. They're the ones who stick to a strategy that works and let time do the heavy lifting. The secret is, there is no secret. Buy the whole market, keep costs low, and let compounding work its magic. Over years and decades, this approach quietly builds real wealth without stress or constant tinkering. Make your system so automatic you can ignore it for years. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing your money is working for you, even when you're not paying attention. Don't waste another 5 years. Learn from your past. Reflect on what hasn't worked, and give yourself permission to try something new. The best time to start is now. Your future returns start now. Every step you take today sets you up for a richer, more secure tomorrow. The sooner you begin, the more you'll benefit from the power of compounding. Fire yourself as a stock picker, slash your fees, automate everything. Free yourself from the stress of trying to outsmart the market and focus on what really matters, living your life. Start building the rich life you deserve. Begin today. Your future self will thank you for the decisions you make right now. Don't let another day go by without taking action.